Hi everyone, welcome back to another continuing education check-in. Today we're talking about the one, and so we're going to try to answer an age-old question today, and a question that probably no one can fully agree on, and I'm really excited to see if we agree on this. A lot of times Sania and I, we agree on things, but then I think sometimes we don't, and I think I really want to explore the things that we don't agree on, and then at the end of the episode we're going to do a new segment. We're calling it "Do Guys or Girls Care?" And so we're going to give a situation, and then Sonia's gonna say how much she thinks girls care about it, and then I'll do the same for the guys.
You're going on these dates, what if, do you feel like this girl's the one?
Wow.
/ what is the one to you?
That is so loaded. Do I feel like this girl is the one? If you're watching...
Maybe let's not make it specific to her, I guess.
Okay.
What is you're the one?
Mm-hmm.
And would you go on dates with someone who is not? Who doesn't fit your definition of the one?
Well, so I guess I would call the one as someone who checks off all my boxes. And so all the deal breakers they meet, and I think in a situation where I meet the one, we would just get along really well immediately. And not just in a friend's way, but there's some romantic attraction and flirtiness, and the one would just be really easy to talk to, really easy to connect with.
Okay.
When we talk, we'll just realize how much we have in terms of similarities, and it would be someone that I just I can't stop talking to, and I can't wait to see them again.
Okay.
I think that's how I would define it.
So I'm really happy that you didn't use any physical attributes to define you're the one. Another sign of maturity, I would say. I
just didn't say it. Okay, yes, I would find them very physically attractive.
Okay. And I don't want to discount or just be against your definition of the one, but I feel a lot of what you're defining is like the honeymoon period in any relationship.
Yeah.
In any person that I've spoken to throughout the course of my life, I feel I've thought that, in the first few weeks, I'm wow, they're so attractive. Wow, they're so perfect, and I just can't wait to see them, and I'm so excited. But it's and they can understand me so well. But it's for me, my definition of the one is not actually anywhere near the honeymoon phase, because I know the honeymoon phase exists.
Yeah.
I define the one as somebody who has a lot of things that are not similar to me. I respect the other person's differences, and I like that we're different so that we can make a good middle ground. Say if you know nothing about fashion or clothes or shoes, and then I happen to know a little bit about it, and we can meet in the middle, and maybe I can stop caring about it so much and you can care about it a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then for me, the biggest thing, and this is something I've identified in a person that I used to talk to, is I think the one will just understand me. I think that is my biggest thing.
Okay.
I think it doesn't matter, the attraction will come and go. This person who understood me really well, I was not attracted to him. He was the farthest from my type. He was my closest friend in undergrad. We were used to date one of my other close friends, and we were just friends for the longest time. But even when we were friends, he could just tell with little shifts in my mood. He was just so attentive to it.
Yeah.
And he was just able to understand me really, really well.
Yeah.
And I think that just made me go crazy for him. And I was anybody that I end up with, I need them to have this.
So are you saying that the one, they should be your friends first?
No, I'm not saying that. But I mean, if you're friends, it's easy for you to identify if they have this. But
yeah.
But then friends do it in a different way. Because me and him were friends, and he did it in a friend's way for me in a long time. Let's say if I'm in a party and maybe my dad is texting me to come home, I'm not going to tell everybody and be that nerdy kid my parents are texting me. But he's just a people person So he was just able to read the room so well, and he could subtly come and ask me about it in a way that doesn't freak me out. He's like, so it's getting kind of late, like, da-da-da, like, do you want me to, like, make sure you get home? Like, is it time now? Like, for your parents? Yeah. Your parents must be asking about you. Like, in a way that it doesn't feel, like, insulting to me. Because I'm a really, I keep realizing this more and more as I get older, I'm not very good at communicating, and asking for things that I want. I really want someone to just be able to understand and give them to me, and I know that's not good.
Yeah.
But he was able to just understand me so well, and like, I think because he wasn't my type initially, like I just felt so comfortable that I could express myself.
Yeah.
So I think that is my biggest thing, to be able to understand me and to make the environment between us be so comfortable that I can express like my more vulnerable things. Like, you know, I don't want to ask you like, hey, like I'd like if we hung out more. Like I don't want to ask that. I want to be cool and be like, no, I'm busy in my own world. Like I'll see you when I see you. Like you're your own person. But like maybe I just want to spend time with you, and I don't want to be shy or like afraid to ask that. Mm-hmm. So the one is like those qualities.
Okay, and then after you noticed that you started having like feelings for him, mm-hmm. because he was this kind of person to you, was there a honeymoon period where you would start to like feel those butterflies?
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Okay.
Like there was.
Uh-huh.
But I think like even in the honeymoon period we had lots of fights and stuff because obviously we were friends first. And the thing that kept me like I think that was the first time that I realized like what qualities I'm looking for in a guy. Mm-hmm. There was qualities in my first ex also that I was like, wow, like am I the one has to have like a very good relationship with their family? Mm-hmm. Like that's like a non-negotiable, like, and good relationship as in like I need to see like respect. Like I respect my elders, like my family members so much, and I would like to see that in them. But then like I feel like every relationship I've had has taught me another trait that I'm like, wow, like the perfect person would have this.
Uh-huh. So I guess like when I try to like put all of this together, it seems like the qualities that we just said, there's like holes in each of them. So for me, like the butterflies, the honeymoon period, you're not going to have that with everyone. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to have that sometimes with people who are really good for you.
Yeah, true.
Just like how you said with that friend mm-hmm. from undergrad. But then the first thing that you brought up, how you feel like the one should be different from you and kind of complementary. Yeah. There's plenty of people out there who are different from us who can be complementary. Mm-hmm. So that can't be like the whole thing. And then the last thing, them understanding you well. Yeah. I agree. But then like your friends also understand you well. So like so part of me feels like it's almost a combination of everything that mm-hmm. we've just brought up. Mm-hmm. And so so I'm okay with that. I think we brought up some good like ways or like qualities of mm-hmm. the one.
And I think one thing we both had in common is like the one is kind of like a feeling. It's like it's something that other person invokes in you, whether it is butterflies, whether it's just like a peace, like your heart just feels like, wow, they just get me.
Yeah.
And you can just be fully authentically yourself with them.
Yeah.
But it's like a feeling that the other person is invoking in you. Mm-hmm. And so, I don't know.
The thing is, like, if we're calling it a feeling, we all know that feelings fade, right? So, mm-hmm. I guess I'm trying to figure out, should it be a feeling? Because these things can go away. Like, someone can be your peace one day, and then you're war. I don't know.
I've experienced it with this person.
Yeah.
I think it's okay because, like, I don't know, in these rom-coms that I've been watching, like, love is not very like, I think, like, for you to find somebody, like, who is you're the one, like, there's supposed to be trials and tribulations. Like, it's supposed to be something you work for. Mm-hmm. But I guess, like, you know, you don't want to just work for every single person that you're, let's say, meeting on an app date. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be like, no, I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it work. No. You should find somebody that hits that threshold, like your line of, like, okay, this is starting to get into the one category.
Yeah.
And then decide, like, you know, even on a good day or on a bad day, like, I want to do it with them.
Yeah.
Because you're right, the feelings do fade. But I guess we want to try to define the one, like, kind of like what you were saying, like in the beginning, in the early stages, like, how do you know this is something that you want to put a lot of time and energy into? Or, like, You know, how do you know when it's like, okay, time to put on my big boy pants? Like, this is kind of serious. This is important.
Yeah. So we each brought, we talked about like traits or qualities that we think the one has. And those are things that like we can look for to tell someone maybe is the one. Mm-hmm. But then I think going back to what you were saying about having the person understand you.
Yeah.
Because I feel like some people are like very socially aware and then some people are not. Right. So does that mean that everyone who's like more shy, quiet, less socially aware doesn't have the potential to be the one?
No, that's not true.
Because I'm thinking like if you're more socially aware, then you're probably more likely.
No, because I think I don't even think it's about, and I know I said this person is a social butterfly and he's aware of everyone. Like he's just good at working a room. Mm-hmm. But I think like even other people, like I think if they just understand you specifically, like I think the one is like something between you and that person.
Okay.
That feeling that happens, it's between you two, right? And so if it's a good connection between the two of you, even if you're shy, even if you're quiet, like you will be able to understand what I'm feeling. You'll be able to pick up on my tendencies just because like, I don't know, as I'm saying this, I'm like, right? Maybe this is like,
You kind of see what I'm saying? Like, if you put two introverts together, maybe they are great for each other. But because of their, like, natural tendencies and how they work in, like, a group situation or even one-on-one with a stranger, maybe that's not even possible. Yeah. But then at the same time, I kind of do see what you're saying. Like, even people who are very shy and reserved, don't want to talk to anyone they don't know, maybe there are certain situations where they will understand the other person feels that way and also know how to.
I think the thing that maybe we should say is like, this is how Ethan and I are defining are the ones. Like, I know this feeling of being understood, and I know when somebody is making me feel that way.
That's true.
Like, my roommate makes me feel understood sometimes, and sometimes she doesn't. You know, my dad can make me feel very understood, and I know when I'm in that space, when I can just speak and be free and, you know, and I can just talk. Mm-hmm. So I think as long as, for the viewers out there, as long as you know what that feeling is for you, and it could be maybe completely different. Maybe you don't want them to understand you. Maybe you just want them to be a very good listener. Maybe you want them to talk a lot because you're quiet and you like to have the other person do the talking and like lead the way and stuff. So as long as you know what your definition of the one is, I think that's what we're trying to get across here.
Yeah, that sounds good to me. But I do think the way that we've defined the one is actually pretty solid. I think
universal?
I think it applies to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Because even like how you're saying, like when someone understands you, they're going to like do the other things, right? So
yeah,
you're saying maybe you don't want them to understand you, but no, like I think that is like something that we all want. We want to be seen and we want to be heard and loved. I guess that leads us to the question of, okay, there are people in our lives, and do we think that the one can have all of those qualities that we just brought up? All of them. Check off all those boxes.
So I'm going to give a very, like, poopy, like, sad answer to this.
Okay.
Because I think Ethan and I are both similar in this, where we look back at past relationships and, like, with our rose-tinted glasses on, and we're like, wait, this is perfect. This person did everything. They checked off all the boxes. So, for example, this friend that I'm talking about, his name is... We're going to call him Toe for this episode. That nickname has meaning.
Okay. Yeah. I was going to say that's like the worst nickname so far.
My mom, no, my one of my closest, my friend gave him this nickname.
Okay.
Anyways, even looking back at that relationship and talking about it now, I'm like, wow, Toe is perfect. He was so good. He knew how to, and like my roommate always tells me this. She's always like, Sonia, you need someone who knows how to control you, or like who knows how to like not control in a bad way. Control in like a way like, because I'm very like, sometimes I'm very childish and I have outbursts. So you need someone who can like suck that energy away and like keep you grounded. And so looking back at that relationship with Toe, I'm like, wow, he was perfect. Da, da, da. But my mom knew about Toe and he was not perfect. Hence, we are not together now. And there was problems in that thing. So maybe he did not have all of those qualities. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, Ethan, do you have somebody that in your life had all of your qualities for the one?
No. but I thought they did.
Yes, me too.
And so, like, similar to your toe, thumb. No,
Let's do thumb.
No, let's not do thumb. That's like, there's this girl, and I think she made me feel very understood.
Yeah.
Like, she understood, like, what my goals for my life and what kind of person I am and what my values and priorities are. Like, she understood all of that. But as I got to know her better, I realized that, okay, like, she made me feel understood. Like, I couldn't wait to see her again and continue the conversation. But then there are, like, certain qualities that just, like, became really obvious. Okay, this person, like, there's something not quite right here. And so, like, for this girl, she was just very flirty, like, with other guys. And, like, that's not a problem in and of itself, but it can lead to problems.
Totally.
Like, when all these guys start, like, chasing you. And it just, like, also made me feel very unsure of, like, where we stood. Like, are we just friends? Like, is there potential for something more? I have no clue, because every guy is thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
So
they had the qualities until something else showed, like, a contradicting quality. Okay, yeah. I think same with my toe. Like, I think he was great, but he and I had just, maybe it was bad timing, but I keep coming across this issue of, like, commitment. No one's able to do the commitment the way that I want.
Yeah.
To feel, and so I just didn't have that feeling of safety and security.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that I'm looking for in the one.
Yeah.
You know?
Something else that I'm noticing, and I think this is, like, a big point of today's episode, is that oftentimes, like, when we feel like we've met the one, it's usually early when we've gotten to know them, and like, that's when all the feelings come. Like, in the situations that we both talked about, that's when that feeling comes.
Yeah.
And then over time, like, it changes. And so I think it's human nature when we meet someone who we think is a good match and has these qualities that we're looking for, like, our initial instinct is just to put them on a pedestal. And as a guy, I do this, like, way more times than, like...
I do it a lot.
Really?
Ethan.
So
the bomber was on a pedestal, believe me.
My gut feeling was that guys do this more than girls.
No. I think it's definitely equal.
Wow.
I think guys and girls do it at a different pace. Like, girls, like, mine will be like a slow build, but man, when it starts to build, it, like, shoots up. And maybe you start at the very top and you're like, you're perfect. Like, you are the one. And then maybe from there it either goes down or it goes up.
Yeah.
But I do think that both people do it.
Yeah. And so I think this is, like, a huge danger, because when you put someone on a pedestal, most of the time you're not even aware.
Yeah.
It just feels right. And, like, and then when you put them on a pedestal, it just, like, feeds that feeling that, oh, this person, there's, like, a lot of potential. They might be the one. Let me just keep going, like, full steam ahead.
And I think you and I are both, like, very lover boy, lover girls. Like, so we are very, like, in touch with our feelings, and we like to be, like, that all in feeling.
Yeah.
And, like, I think also because we are both dating with, like, a purpose, like, that kind of also aligns us to that direction of, like, oh, if I'm talking to you, like, I really value you, and, like, and then up until the point where they show us their traits that don't align with things that we want, we, like, rose-tinted glasses all the way.
And I think this is a bad thing.
Yeah, right? I know. I was just like, as we were talking about this, I'm like, is the one a problem?
Yeah, and so I guess, like, now I'm wondering, I don't think it's ever good to put someone on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Like, even if that person is right for you, if you make them into someone that they're not, and you've, like, given them all these qualities or this, like, storyline that isn't true, you end up putting a lot of, like, pressure on them to, like, maintain this image that you have of them. And so I think under no circumstances should you ever put someone on a pedestal. But how do you even catch yourself, and how do you stop yourself from doing this in the future?
I think it's very hard, and I think I am one of the people that it's very hard to be in the moment and to see things as they are.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times, like, you know, if I meet somebody I like I'm in La La Land. They are probably like giving me like, let's say it's somebody in my bus in my morning commute to work, like maybe the guy looked at me once and I'm like, wow, like he probably was thinking this, and like maybe he's going to take the bus at the same time just because he knows I'm going to be on it, and like you start spiraling. And I really think that everyone, for everything in life besides relationships, like just in life, people have to really try very hard to be present and to look at, like, I feel like a lot of times, I don't know, Ethan, if you do this, but I've been reading our book.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, I think, you know, when you start getting carried away, when your feelings start taking over instead of, like, your mind, that's when you start doing this thing of putting people on a pedestal. So I think it's really important to just, like, to
enjoy the moment.
Yeah, and to just, like, let the person be them.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of times when I talk to people, I realize because I have them on a pedestal, I treat them like that, and then anything besides that upsets me. And I'm just like, no, maybe that's something that I'm doing wrong. I should, like, when you talk to someone, you should keep your mind very open, like, open to receiving their good and their bad.
Yeah.
You shouldn't just be open to, like, picking up only the signs that you really like, and you're like, oh yeah, this one makes him, like, fit in my box, this one, this one, this one. No. You have to just be open to, like, all of their flaws, all of their good things. And I think, like, the reason we're both single is because maybe our definition of the one is messed up. We're defining this really perfect individual. And maybe the one is, yes, the one is a feeling that you have that you just know when you feel it. But maybe the one is also some flaws and some, like, things that are not things that, you know, a lot of times, like, my dad, for example, he talks all the time about how, like, he's with my mom and he's like, he knows she's the one he was supposed to be with. But at the time, he was like, no, like, she's not my type, or she's not who, like, I want. But he knows, like, now he's lived his life, he's in his 60s, and now he's just like, you know what, like, this was the best choice for me.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, it's probably because I'm single, but I wonder if I could ever get to that point where I'm like, oh, I know for sure this was who I was supposed to marry. I'm
going to be honest with you. My parents' marriage thing, we can talk about when to know. I don't know. I don't even know what the episode topic would be, but it was very messy. Like, they broke off their wedding.
Wow.
It's like tea. They broke off their wedding literally 3 days before. Everyone's families went back to their own cities. And then my dad went back to her. Because my grandma was like, no, you can't you cannot cancel a wedding on a girl, like, just a few days before. It makes her look really bad, especially back in those times in India. So they ended up getting married, but there was a lot of resistance, is what I'm trying to say. So, and my dad's, like, so in touch with his feelings, very much like you and I. And so he wasn't very into it.
Yeah.
But now he looks back at it, and I think the one is also, like, when your body tells you, like, okay, it's time to decide and this is it. And, like, sometimes I think I started to view that as, like, oh, like, did my dad settle? Is that settling? When you just decide, even though it's a decision you don't want to make, even though there's friction. Like, you're going on these dates and you're feeling friction. It's not so smooth and you're not gliding down there, you know? And it's just, like, but I think that that's okay. I think, like, a huge part of the one is, like, the choice. It's you choosing. Yeah. And this feeling that we're describing, like, oh, we're feeling understood, that's just something that helps you to decide, like, yes, this is it.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right, because I think there's a huge shift in our culture nowadays for people to say, if this doesn't feel right, this can't be right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do this. And I think it applies to everything, like choosing a college major. If you run into one class that you have a bad professor or you don't like what you're learning, okay, this major is not for me.
Yeah.
Or it's the same, like, with a job or with choosing an apartment. And apartment. I think the point is, and something that I've learned recently, is that a lot of times the things that are right for us in life, they're not going to feel good. It involves that choice and that commitment of saying, I'm going to stick this through, and then I'm going to see it pay off in the future. It's like going to the gym.
I was just thinking that. It does not feel great.
Exactly. And, like, you either have to wake up early in the morning, or you're going after school or
when you're
work.
Super, super tired.
Yeah. And it, like, kind of, like, costs you the rest of your evening. But it's a sacrifice that you make for, like, future results. And, like, even for this podcast, like, every time I wake up early to do this, I'm like, is there another way? Like, I can make this easier on myself. Is this what I really want to be doing on a Tuesday morning? But then afterwards, when I'm listening to our episodes again and hearing our advice and also seeing the impact that it has on people, then I'm like, okay, I think that I'm supposed to be doing this. So even though it doesn't feel good, it doesn't feel right all the time. That doesn't mean that it's bad for you. And I think going back to what you're saying, Sania, about how to not put someone on a pedestal, not become obsessed or infatuated with them, I really like what you said about being present, being open-minded. And I think for me, the other thing is, I think when I've reached a point in my life where I've become very content. So I know who I am as a person. I know who my support system is. I know what I like to do, and these are like my goals in life. Then when someone comes along, it's not like so much about them, but it's like I'm me. Let's see where this relationship goes, but it's not so much, oh, you're everything that I need, because I already have what I need. I know like what my identity is, and I don't think it's easy to get to that point. I don't.
I was just gonna say.
I don't even think I'm fully there. But I think recently in my life I've become very content, and that's been helping me. It's been a while since I've put someone on a pedestal, and they're still like, I still have those tendencies, but then I remind myself, okay, like, let me keep an open mind. They're going to have flaws, but also like, I'm good where I'm at. Like, nothing needs to
like if something is super horrible, definitely we're not saying you should stick through it. Like, you know, if you have a fever, we're not saying go to the gym. You know, if something is really, really bad. But if something's like, if it just feels a little resistance isn't always a bad thing. That is what leads to a better feeling. You know, people do cold plunges. It doesn't feel good, but you do it because like the serotonin boost, like the good mood you feel afterwards. You know, so you should have that resistance, and it's not a bad thing, and you shouldn't run away from it.
Okay, so another way that people define the one is that one person, I guess, on the whole earth who is meant for you, and that is like the perfect fit for you. Do we think that person exists, like that version of the one? Okay,
so I think Ethan and I talked about this maybe just in passing a few weeks ago. And I think then I said, like, yes, there is just one person, like, God put my name next to somebody else's name, and I'm only going to be, like, that is my person. And maybe on some, like, very, very deep level, I do believe that. But I also do believe it's hard to come across that person in your lifetime. And sometimes maybe you don't meet them. And so I think in that case, I think the realistic answer that I'm going to give to answer your question is going to be like, I don't think there's just one person.
Wow. But you still think there's a chance that there is one?
I do think there is like one person that is made for you. I do think we are two halves of a whole. I completely believe in that. But I think it's kind of delulu to be going after and like chasing that.
Well, that's insane. Like, if there is one person who is that your twin flame, then isn't it kind of cruel that there's a chance that you might never meet them? It doesn't make sense to me.
And then this is when like life gets super like chicken and egg situation, because it's like, okay, let's say there is one person for you, but then let's say by the time it's time for me, like I'm just going to talk about my parents just because that's an example I see. Like, let's say there was like a person for them. And maybe, let's say, they didn't end up with their person that they thought they were supposed to end up with. Or maybe they thought they never met that person. But then they ended up together. And, like, life is good. Like, I exist. I'm in this world. And then maybe, like, you know, when everything is said and done, it turns out, like, you know what? Maybe I just didn't know it, but maybe my mom was the person for my dad. You know, like, because they ended up together, maybe that was the person that they are the two halves of the whole. So it's kind of like, do you pick them or do they pick you and then they just are the person? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but I feel like leading up to this point, our whole argument in this episode is that, like, you pick them and then everything else like comes with that. And so, like, no one, like, out of the box is gonna be, I don't think anyone is like the exact fit or match for you. But then like, I feel like what we're saying is that you make the commitment.
Yeah.
Not saying like you commit to someone who's bad for you.
No.
But like there's enough there, enough potential. You share goals. They don't have like major deal breakers.
Yeah.
And shared values, etc., etc. You make the commitment, and then everything else comes from there. Because I think the other thing about people is that we think that, or a lot of times it's easy to think people are stagnant. The people that we meet right now, that is the way that they are. But that's not true. Like everyone's always changing.
100%.
This is what makes a lot of marriages strained, or like even get better. Because people can change, or people do change. And so like I'm in the boat where you make the commitment with someone who like has the qualities that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And then like they will change over time, and that will make like the marriage or the relationship kind of like something that changes over time, and kind of maybe a roller coaster, but maybe a smooth roller coaster.
Yeah.
And I think that like draws you closer together, as opposed to like right when you meet them,
Oh, yeah.
that person that they are, that is the perfect person for you.
And I think rom-coms like support what we're saying, Ethan. I was just thinking about like The Notebook. When they first met, they were not together.
I never watched The Notebook.
Okay, I'll finish reading the book, but you should watch The Notebook.
Okay.
Anyways, well, this is going to be lost on you, but hopefully our viewers have watched The Notebook. And basically, the girl and the guy, they are in love with each other when they first meet, clicks, fireworks, everything, but then life puts them apart. If that was me, if I was in her situation, I'd be like, oh, he's not in my life anymore. He was probably not the one. It was probably not meant to be. False, because a few years passed, she fully has an engagement. She was about to marry someone else, and then she meets him again, and he has like, you know, she's super rich. He has no job. He's very like, da-da-da, like, you know, opposite of her. You wouldn't think he has all of her check boxes. But they meet again, and then they end up together. So it's okay. You're not supposed to meet the person right at the beginning and be like, oh, this is it. I'm choosing you. You know?
Yeah, but I also like the situation that you bring up, like that doesn't happen like either.
Oh, yeah, I know. But it's just to take, like, the takeaway is that everything isn't supposed to be smooth and easy and just click right away and like you fall in love and it's perfect and that's it.
But that's what you described. They clicked perfectly the first time, and then they didn't.
Separated.
But then when they met again, they clicked perfectly, and then it was happily ever after.
But imagine if you were in the situation when it first time doesn't work out, you're fully engaged to someone else. Like you wouldn't think about that other guy anymore. You know? So it's just like life brings you together.
But when did they ever did they put in the work to like?
They did. There was a lot of letters exchanged.
But did they like go through like real problems between the two of them?
Yes, but you know what? Maybe this is a bad example. Then you could just cut that out.
No. We can use this example, and I think the main point, right, is that like it's not supposed to be like an easy ride right from the beginning.
Yes, that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. I just wanted to give you a hard time a little bit.
It's also been a while since I watched it, and I have very bad memories, so you were asking some good questions that I couldn't answer.
Yeah, sometimes I do that. Sometimes I can't answer those questions. Okay. Is there anything else that you want to say?
I think not at this moment. I feel like we'll probably touch on this subject a lot, and we probably have in the past also. Like, it just comes up, the one, in like the conversations we have. But I think for now, I'm like, good.
Yeah, we've hit some good points. If you guys have more questions, comment them, DM us, let us know. Okay, so to wrap up today's episode, maybe we'll change the name at some point, but we're calling it Do Guys/Girls Care. And so I don't know if we'll like, maybe we won't do like a rating, but we'll say like a lot or like medium or like not at all.
Okay. 3. Okay, sure.
Okay, and so the first one is how religious you are. So I'll answer how much do guys care, and then Sania will say how much do girls care.
Okay.
Okay.
And again, all of our answers are our personal preferences, so don't come for us.
What? We're supposed to be speaking
Okay,
for
I am trying to speak for it, but like religion is like, you know, like if you're, regardless of if you're a guy or girl, if you're not religious, it won't matter to you maybe if the other person is. So at least this particular one. Okay, let's just go.
Okay, you want to go first?
I'm gonna say not at all.
Oh.
Which might be super controversial and unexpected.
I did not expect that.
Yeah, but I think because, and again, this is just shaped by my experiences in relationships, I'm gonna say, and from what I've seen, like when I was a kid and growing up, I think religion is super important to me. And I think it's going to be really important to my family. It's going to be like enforced in my children. Like, sorry, not enforced. That sounds really bad. It's going to be an important part of our lives. But I think for the person that I'm with, of course, if he is religious, it'll help me get closer to religion. And like, you know, that happened to one of my cousins and it was great. But I think personally, I have historically only dated people that are not of my religion and that are almost very atheist.
What?
And but in a way that like religion wasn't something important to them growing up, but they're so open and accepting of my religion then. You know, so they're curious about my religion, like, so I don't mind, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is it's not important because I feel like I can teach the guy. I can make him understand what it is. I can show him why it's important and like I can, you know.
You can make it work?
Yes.
Wow, I think you need to put these back on. That's kind of crazy. Like, if you want to raise your kids, like, in that religion, I think it's very hard to expect the guy to...
I think it's because, like, as... based, again, of what I've seen in my life, like, I think as the girl, as the mother, you're at home with the kids. You're, like... you know, deciding what the family is doing a lot of the times, and the dad's always just at work. So, like, you do you, but, like, my kids are going to be religious, you know? And it's like, if you want to dip your toes and figure it out and, like, try to understand and be open-minded, like, in all my relationships, people have been very curious about my religion.
Okay, just because they're curious or they're open doesn't mean that they're going to allow their kids to...
The conversations that I had in both of my past, I've only had 2 official boyfriends by name.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot of information to give the audience.
And both of them had said, yeah, like, you do you with the kids, like not even you do you. It's like, yeah, like, you could totally raise them Muslim. But they're totally fine with me raising my kids Muslim. They've seen me fast for, like, years and years and years. They're very supportive of, like, Ramadan, of, like, Eid, like, like different things that are important in my culture. Basically, I don't care if the guy is religious.
Okay.
As long as he's... I like when they're religious. Other email cheater was very religious.
Yeah.
He had a lot of faith, and I think that instilled a lot of really good values in him. But I think even if you don't have... because I think I can't really blame somebody. Like, when I look at religion, I don't look at... because a lot of times you're born into it. And then also how religious you are, a lot of the times is also dictated by your family. And, like, how religious they are. So, I don't care.
Okay, I hear you. And this is a tangent. I recognize that. But one thing I just want to point out is I think that's fair, like, for you to think that. But how much stronger would your kid's faith be or your family dynamic be if the dad was also actively wanted the same things that you did instead of just saying, okay, you can make the decisions. So I think there's a difference there. True. Also, I think when you have kids, I read this from a book, by the way, this is not just like
I was like, wow, you came prepared.
But when you have kids, like, the grandparents get involved too, right? Your parents want one thing, who knows, like, what the guy's parents. So
you're saying a lot of the same stuff my mom has told me before, so.
Okay. I read that in a book. So, okay. So for me...
Can I borrow this book?
Yeah, you can.
After I finish the other one.
Okay. So for guys, how much do you guys care about, like, how religious the girl is? So if you're, like, not at all, this is, like, guys are at negative. So, like, guys don't care about how religious a girl is.
Really?
In fact, like...
But she's the one that's going to be, like, teaching your kids day to day about the religion and, like, things to do, things not to do, and, like...
Yeah, like, guys don't really care about that. Or they don't think about it.
Okay.
So...
Wow, I was not expecting that answer.
I think Okay, maybe that's like, okay, that's it's a wild generalization, right?
Yeah.
I think for guys, like, that doesn't mean guys don't want their kids to have certain values or like a sense of morality. But I just think that our culture has become extremely irreligious.
Yeah.
And like to a point where religion is like super tied into like politics and like your social status. And so maybe on paper, like people who are religious or guys that are religious will say that they want someone who also shares that religion. But I think a lot of times, like, even that is kind of empty. And like in our day and age, like, guys are not, religion is not like a priority. They're looking for all the other things. They're looking for like what makes them feel good, and like shared qualities and shared interests, and like that is a priority. I will say for myself, this is like really important for me because this defines the girl's values and what she wants out of life. To me, like, this is like the top thing that I look for. But I think for guys in general, this is not a big deal. No. So
Good discussions on that one.
yeah, well, we're building up to it, but we're at some point we're gonna talk more about that.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's like a
huge.
very full topic.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, second one. This is a little more fun, but okay. Do guys or girls care if you have an Android phone?
What were the options? Like care a lot.
You can choose whatever you want.
I'm gonna say I care a little bit. Only because I like the ability to be able to FaceTime. I think FaceTime, I hate texting. Hate it. But I like the ability to just like, video call.
Yeah.
Phone call's fun, but like video call, like that's so cute. And I think I kind of really need it.
But you know you can use like other things to do video call.
Yeah, I
Like
know,
Instagram, Facebook Messenger,
it just doesn't
Snapchat.
feel nice to be texting and it's green. Like, it should be blue.
Okay, now we finally dug to the thing.
I mean, realistically, if you're a guy, it doesn't matter that much. If you're a girl, it's kind of annoying because, like, when I'm making group chats with my girlfriends and I'm just like, like, how do I include this one girl?
Yeah.
As a guy, it doesn't matter that much. Honestly, it makes me think maybe you're a little bit more pure and, like, hidden from the world of iPhone. I don't know. I don't even know what that means. But, so I'm going to be like, I don't really care, but I care a little bit. Somewhere in there.
Okay. You're speaking for the girls out there, right?
Okay. I think for the girls in general out there, I think they do not care.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a little bit annoying. Like the Android emojis look a little different than the iPhone ones. At least they used to.
Yeah.
But I think in general, like girls do not care. Like if you're texting her, she is happy. Like she doesn't care what color those messages are.
I think for guys also care. Like, and it's kind of between a little bit to like a medium amount.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's just nice to like, if I want to airdrop you
Yeah.
or I don't know, like you said, like do a FaceTime. It's just a lot easier.
Yeah. Like sharing your location, stuff like that. Like it's just easy.
But kind of like part of me kind of thinks that maybe green bubble is a green flag.
I know, I was thinking. But actually, I know some people like that have green bubbles that are not green flags.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm okay. I think for me personally, I want to say it doesn't matter, but it does matter a little bit. It like a little bit.
Yeah.
But I would say like, okay, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 matters a lot, 1 is like not at all. Maybe I'm like at a 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. I don't think it actually matters that much. There's always like you if you like that person, you're gonna find a way to make it work. And that's that. Okay. The last one. If they play sports.
Okay. I think I'm gonna speak for myself, but also I think in this one answer, I think I speak also for all of the girls. I think I care. Girls care a lot. if the guys play sports. Like, it's cool if you can go to the gym and lift, like, good for you, good for your health, but I think it's super important for guys to play sports. Because, again, like, you know, I'm thinking in terms of, like, you're probably going to be more physically attractive, not just because you can lift 300 pounds, but because you're actually able to do things with your body and you can be active, and that's fun. Maybe we could go play a sport and stuff like that, but also, like, transferable skills. Like, you know, you can teach my kids how to play baseball, like, whatever the sport is. And, like, I think, like, in my traditional thinking of, like, what a family unit is, like, my dad taught me how to throw and catch a ball. I'm assuming you're going to go teach the kids. If you can't, I can do it because my dad taught me really, really good. But ideally, like, that's, like, the thing that you do. Mm-hmm. So that's my answer.
Yes, I'm going to bring up this case. There's someone that we know who doesn't play any sports. But we've seen this guy can really move, you know. So, like, where does he fall in that?
Here, no, I'm kidding. Well, some people don't play sports themselves, but, you know, like, at least maybe they're interested in watching sports. Like, there should be some, like, I guess what I'm saying is, as a girl, I would like the guy to know some kind of sports related thing, whether that's, like, knowledge of, like, explaining how games works, or, you know, just something that's, like, not to do with your work, some kind of, like, passion, something that you are interested in life.
So it doesn't have to be sports.
It doesn't have to be sports, but, like, just something, I mean, it's nice if it's something active. That's a good thing that you can pass on to people. But let's say this guy who doesn't play sports, let's say he is very good at picking dinner spots, or let's say he's very into books. Like, as long as you have a passion of yours, that I think that becomes, like, a very good transferable skill. Mm-hmm. Like, as kids, like, you automatically get access to a lot of skills because of your parents. Mm-hmm. Like, I like to read because of my mom. Like, I like sports because of my dad. Like, we used to, every day after school, we would go to, like, the park and we would play basketball and soccer, and, like, we would just play together. And I was, like, the house was very active always. Mm-hmm. So.
Okay. I think as a guy, like, I'm going to keep this pretty simple. I think guys who are athletic or are athletes or play mm-hmm. sports, I think a lot of times they really value girls who do the same. Mm-hmm. But then guys, like, who are not so into sports, they don't really care at all. Okay. And I do think that in general, I don't think this is very important to guys. Okay. But then if she does play sports, if she's active, mm-hmm. It's, like, only a plus. Okay. And I will say, like when I was younger, I used to be scared of girls with, like, abs or, like, muscles. Okay. It used to scare me. And now it doesn't. But I just think, like, if she plays sports to a point where it's, like, a lot more than you, and, like, okay. Like, she's more ripped than the guy.
The guy's going to feel beta.
Yeah. It will trigger those.
Which means that those girls can just upgrade and find even more alpha guys.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I do think, like, it's not something most guys just will look for, but it's definitely a plus.
Yeah. I think for girls, yeah, it's pretty important.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, that's all we have. We hope that you had fun and you got something out of this. What a crazy episode.
Yeah, this one was kind of... It's one of those.
Okay. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next time.